Hey friends, it's Heather here again. Welcome back to the Build a Better Business video series. If you have just discovered these videos, giant welcome. So glad that you're here. It's really amazing to have you. I hope you're finding these videos helpful and full of tips and tricks. If you've been here for a while, you know I'm trying to fill them with ideas to help you get you building that business of your dreams. So I do record a new video every week on topics to help you be more successful. They're coming out every Wednesday right now, so Wednesdays are really great days, right? Don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss any episodes. Notice I've changed my camera angle because my dad said it looks better horizontal. So I hope you enjoyed last week's, or the last 3 episodes, it was 3 weeks, where we were digging down into the business of figuring out the numbers that will keep you going in your business, plus how not only to survive, but to thrive in your business. So if you missed them, go back and watch them. This week I'm going to revisit the episode of the time log, as I promised. And I did do my own experiment. If you remember, I'm not sure if you tried out this test with me, or if you remember that episode, it was way back at the beginning of May. Man, time flies. I can't believe it's already, coming up to the end of June. If you did try it out, I'm sure you will have discovered it's challenging to create new habits, or even to try and keep track of the ones that you have, which would be like creating a new habit of trying to keep track of your old habits, right? Brain. So I know that you know, logically, that habits are hard to change, right? Otherwise, you and I would obviously, and everyone else, would all be the exact weight we want, fitness level we wanted to be. We'd be exactly what we wanted to be at the time we wanted to be it. We would eat exactly the right things and say exactly the right things, always at the right time, right? So habits are hard. Now, I did manage to get enough data from the time log, the time diet log, to realize that I'm spending more time on what I'll call stuff. And stuff is what I refer to as busy work, or maybe not even work. It's just stuff that keeps happening that I need to do, and I don't really feel like I have anything to show for it at the end of the day. I don't feel like it moves me forward towards my goals. By the way, a video on goals is coming. It's super important to have goals, so if you don't have any, we need to talk. So I found I was spending more time than I wanted on this stuff that doesn't really get things done. Doesn't feel like I'm reaching anything, and it doesn't give me any relaxation. So, by the way, it's okay not to work every waking moment of your day. You can have some downtime. It's okay. In fact, you should have downtime. Personally, I paint watercolors and I play Sudoku when I need to relax. And what do you do to relax? I'd actually be curious. Do you give yourself time to relax? And if you have something that you do when you want to chill, tell me what it is. I'd like to know. Stick it in the comments. I'm always curious how people find the best ways to relax. So I'm right now working on decreasing the stuff, the not productive. I'm trying to catch myself when I'm doing it. And when I'm doing those things that I think are stuff that might be just me procrastinating. So things like Facebook and Instagram, yeah, I need them for my business, and there are things there that are legit reasons for me to be there. But if I've been scrolling for the past 20 minutes, looking at pictures of friends, what they ate for dinner, what's in their garden, or what mask they're sporting these days, or who wasn't physically distancing maybe at the beach last weekend, then I've scheduled myself for working, and scrolling is not productive. So when I say scheduling for myself for working, I do block off in my calendar specific time when I want to get specific things done. That way I know what I'm going to be working on, when I'm going to work on it, so I plan ahead when I'm going to work on it, and how long I have planned, so how long I think I'm going to take to work on it. I don't always get it done in that time frame, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but I'll still schedule it and I'll still plan it, and depending on what it is, I know even if I don't get it done, I'm going to get a big chunk of it done if I can sit and focus on it for an hour or more, or 2, however many I think I need, on one thing, and not multitasking or multi-surfing. or multi-distracting or multi-daydreaming, right? I'm a great daydreamer, by the way. So after the realization, after I did finally get some time log information in, trying to create a new habit on tracking habits, after the realization of the stuff that I was doing, and then I wanted to change that habit of the stuff, of course, then I had to figure out this thing about habits. So here is what I learned. So first I started with an article that was written by another coach, and he was talking about a book on habits by Charles Duhigg. Hope I said that right. And I highly recommend his book. Actually, I did check it out. It's called The Power of Habit. And if you really want to dig deep into it, then check out his book, The Power of Habit. But if you just want the Coles Notes, I'll give it to you in a nutshell, right? So when you're trying to create new habits, there could be a couple of reasons why it's hard for you to change your habits. The first reason is that, we don't always think about this. Habits are just habits, right? So understanding how your habits are structured and then how to use that structure to your advantage will help you change a habit. And then the second thing that might stop you is you're attempting to do too much too soon and you're setting yourself up for failure. So I'm super guilty of this one. Number 2, I like to try and get it all done at once. I think I'm like some kind of superpower. Yeah, I'm going to plow through this. I'm going to get it done faster than anybody else. I don't think it's ever worked, actually, come to think of it. So some of what this guy was saying was making sense, right? So trying to do too much too soon. Pretty obvious, I think. So remember those New Year's resolutions we set back in January? How long did they last? I know I've in the past set I'm going to work out 5 days a week, and it lasted about a week, 5 days. Too much, too fast, right? You have to kind of chunk it up. One way to counter this is one, I like to be letting it easier on myself these days. I'm going to treat myself like I would treat my best friend, cut myself some serious slack. So if I have this super excited, charged up idea that I think I'm going to implement this in 5 days, I'm like, wow, I've got this idea for this amazing online course. It's going to help people run their businesses and I'm going to get it done in 5 days. That's old me. The new me says, well, let's take that 5 days and let's multiply that by 4. Yeah, 4. So I'm going to give myself 20 days instead of 5 days. And that's not because I don't think I can do it in 5 days or I'm being lazy or anything like that. It's because I know that I always overestimate what I can get done, how long it's actually going to take me. And then I tend to forget to add in things like eating and sleeping and free time. So I'm biased to give myself too short a time frame to get stuff done. So I know if I start with the multiply by 4 and I block it in my calendar when I'm going to do it, and then I make sure I actually follow my calendar and focus on it, then I won't stress out when I get on day 4 out of 5 and I'm not done, even though initially I had planned to be done the next day. Life is going to happen while you're trying to get things done, right? Things are going to interrupt you. But try it, especially if you're feeling like you don't have enough time to get things done, and we all have the same amount of time. You're just deciding where to spend it. So try blocking it, give yourself more time than you think, and blocking it in your calendar. So then going up to the first point, how habits are structured, and this is, I think, where a lot of habits get stuck. How they're structured in our day, plus how to leverage that to take advantage. So this guy was saying habits have 3 things: a cue or a trigger, an action, and a reward. Right? Makes sense? So a cue or a trigger. So that's the thing that sets the habit in motion. It's this loop that you get into. Maybe you probably don't even notice it most of the time. It's this something takes place because of some internal cue. Maybe it's something external that kind of starts everything in motion. So see if you can relate to this one, just to kind of demonstrate what triggers are like. So I had this friend, and she didn't actually smoke, but if we went to a pub and she ordered a drink, she would light up a cigarette. I know, smoking, right? In a bar? What? Let me just say, this is way before you couldn't smoke anywhere, which, you could do back in the day. You would get home at the end of the night and just leave your clothes outside because they smelled like cigarette smoke. But she didn't even notice this habit, that she did this, until one day I asked her why she was smoking. And she told me she didn't smoke. Yes, she said she was a non-smoker. She said she only smoked socially. So she considered herself a non-smoker. So her cue or trigger to this habit to smoke was when she was out drinking with her friends. But she didn't actually consider that this cue of going out had linked itself to her smoking, because she didn't consider herself a smoker. Habits are sneaky, right? They'll get in there and they'll twist around in your brain and you won't even know what's going on. So the second part of the structure of a habit, so we got our cue, is the action. So the cue was going out and having a few drinks. The action is lighting up a cigarette. So they were tied together in her brain. Somehow this created a perceived reward, which is the third part of the habit. Cue is, where are we? The cue is out for drinks. The action was lighting up a cigarette. The reward that got tied to it was fun and social time with friends. The reward's pretty awesome, right? So yeah, you can totally argue she didn't need the action of smoking to get the reward, but that's why habits are powerful and they're hard to break, right? She didn't realize that it was only a habit to smoke when she was out drinking with her friends, and that she could still have fun even if she didn't actually do the action of smoking, right? Crazy, I know. Now I know there's more involved than that. I'm just using this as a particular example. I know that there's brain chemistry, there's that hit that nicotine gives you, there's the addictive qualities of it. I'm just using this to show kind of the cascade of how habits get themselves set up and get to work on us without us realizing what they're doing or that they're doing what they're doing. So have you also noticed that we get a bit addicted to the instant gratification? So I do this. You text a friend and you get annoyed if they don't answer you within 30 minutes, maybe less, depending on how impatient you are. Yeah, I know. You're like, why aren't they answering me? They've got their phone in their pocket. I know they've got it. I'm working on that impatient side, but I'm just saying this, making habits so there's habits that take longer to get the reward, right? So they can be harder to implement. Say like working out. One workout and you aren't going to get the super advertised beach body. It's going to take work and sticking to it and being regular, and you will get there and you will get that reward. But if you have an old habit that gives you a reward faster, the new habit hasn't replaced it yet, you might just go back to the old habit because it's easier and you get your instant reward, and we love instant gratification. And the reward we want is just so far in the future, and like, yeah, I'll get back to that. So these habits you have in place, the ones you'd especially like to change, pretty likely the reward is pretty fast compared to the habit maybe you're trying to replace it with. So sometimes your new habits won't stick because you're just needing a little dopamine boost. You need your little reward that comes right after your action. So you can get them associated in your brain. What you're going to do is you're going to see if you could give yourself a reward right after the habit that you're trying to implement. So working out, for example. So yeah, the reward is down the road, right? But you need a little reward now to give you that little kick, that instant gratification. So maybe after your action that you're trying to take place, you have the perfect cup of coffee that you save for right after your workout. Or maybe a piece of super healthy, organic, fair trade, free range chocolate right after you finish your monthly bookkeeping, right? I know you hate doing that stuff, but if you didn't eat the chocolate until you were done, imagine. So if you want this new habit to get into that loop of happening in your favor, some questions for you. First, what habit are you trying to install? Or maybe uninstall, right? Or just change, shift. What are cues you can set up to create an action that you want to take place? So what are you going to set up so it triggers you to go, oh yeah, I got to do that, or that's an action I want to take? What are some ways you can make sure that your action doesn't stall on the runway? Like maybe you have to work, right now it's easy, working out at home so you don't have to go to the gym. And then how are you going to reward yourself to hardwire that loop of the action and the reward, right? You need to hardwire that with a little reward, and be honest with yourself. Just pick one habit at a time, okay? Just work on one at a time. Otherwise, you're going to set yourself for fail. Pick the most important one right now. It can change later down the road. Pick the most important one right now. Make it something you can achieve. You're just going to start exercising your habit of changing habit muscles. So we need to start building those up. If it's something big, break it into smaller pieces so you can implement it a piece at a time, just so you can have little milestones. And if you miss one day, don't miss 2 days, because then you'll lose your momentum. Missing once, don't give yourself a hard time, but pick up and keep going, and don't go for 2 days, because you'll have to start over. Easy, right? Okay, not easy, but simple. Maybe not easy. But if it was all easy, we would be perfect. If it's something you want, you can figure it out. I know you can figure it out. And now you have this knowledge of I know it was fast. I'll go back and watch it again, of how it's structured and maybe how you can shift everything, right? That's it for me, friends. Thank you for watching this video. Remember, you can always go back and check out the ones you missed. You can even rewind this if you need to watch it again. To make sure you don't miss any, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you know somebody who you think could use this, send them over to watch the video in case they would find it helpful. As always, if you need help and you want to explore the possibility of working one-on-one, feel free to contact me. Your initial 20-minute consultation is totally free. We can just explore if we could work together. I am Heather, the owner of Prosperity Flow Coaching. I help health and fitness professionals build the business of their dreams. I hope you are taking care of yourself. I hope you're doing well and you're staying healthy. I will see you again next week. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon.